As a professional, I've been managing the Malta Hotels and Restaurants Association. Tourism is one of the most important economic activities in the countries across the Mediterranean. They were hitting the tourism sector to put down on its knees a country in a couple of hours. The common denominator which we focused on, and that was the trick which brought together people from different cultures. We wanted to bring the best brains possible from across the Mediterranean to realize this dream. Of course, the tourism sector in Malta is a very important sector. It represents cumulatively 30% of the GDP. The focus of my expertise with the World Bank was to share best practices. I'm quite a boring person. I don't have much hobbies, but my work is my hobby.
TV Sunday, the power of truth.
It's my great honor to welcome the veteran personality of Mediterranean tourism, none other than Mr. Andrew Agius Muscat. It's a great honor, Andrew. Thank you very much for your time and your kindness to us. So thank you for joining us from Malta.
Thank you, and it's indeed a pleasure to be with you here to share a bit, the thinking behind the Mediterranean Tourism Foundation, and of course our plans for the future.
Yes, I'm really amazed while going through your CV short biodata that I have received. It's something like a spellbounded. How somebody can achieve such a wonderful feat of achievement in the lifetime. You have done a lot to promote the tourism, to promote culture, to promote tradition, and to promote overall not just only Malta, overall Mediterranean. You are a wonderful personality in tourism industry, Andrew.
That's very kind of you. Of course, as I always like to say, is that we by ourselves we're no one, and the
Yeah.
greatest, I would say, achievement that maybe I managed to do in my career was to surround myself with people who are much better than I am,
Yeah.
bring them together and create the synergies. And
Yes,
I think,
regarding the creation that what you have created, that's just only the WhatsApp group that connects the people from different part of the world, and it makes a huge difference to understand each and other. And I appreciate you for creating this huge initiative, Malta Tourism Forum (MTF).
yeah, I mean, the origins of the MTF go back now to about 13 years ago.
Yeah.
At the time, as we recall, there were a number of terrorist attacks across the Mediterranean, ISIS attacking a number of the Middle East countries. There were other countries like such as Turkey, Tunisia, Egypt under attack by terrorists. And this got us thinking. And we could see that the terrorists were actually doing something which was very terrible, but in a smart way. In a smart way, what do I mean? They were hitting the tourism sector to put down on its knees a country in a couple of hours. So, if you look at what happened in Turkey, the airports were attacked. In Egypt, an aeroplane was put down and the museums were attacked. In Tunisia, in the same way, museums were attacked. And this was creating a lot of tension, a lot of instability across the region, and unfortunately was leading for the Mediterranean to hit the headlines for the wrong reason at an international level. Indeed, the Mediterranean is much more than that. The Mediterranean attracts one third of international tourists. The Mediterranean region is the most important region in the world when it comes to tourism. So we made it our mission, me and myself and Tony Zara. We made it our mission to organize something which goes against the efforts of the terrorists by promoting, by investing, by bringing people together to work on a common denominator in the region, and that is tourism. Despite the differences, Kieran, that the Mediterranean countries have between each other, Tunisia is not like Turkey, Turkey is not like Italy, Italy is not like Egypt. However, there is a common denominator which brings us together, and that is tourism. If you think about it, tourism is one of the most important economic activities in the countries across the Mediterranean. And indeed, I saw it with my own eyes. When you talk about tourism, in the Mediterranean region, all the parties come sit down together around one table. They forget all about their differences, their political, their religious differences, and they all sit down around one table to talk business together. And this kept on inspiring us that tourism could really indeed become a vehicle to promote peace and stability in the region.
Mediterranean is one of the most important regions in this planet regarding tourism because it has numerous of things to explore like natural beauty, beaches, art, culture, history, and modernization. Yes, entertainment, everything is there. But one thing is very highlighting, there are differences in terms of culture. Turkey has different culture and traditions like you have in Malta. Italy might have some different attraction and culture like you have in somewhere like maybe Croatia, suppose. So there are numbers of differences in terms of culture, in terms of technology, in terms of infrastructure development, in terms of natural, I mean, touristic attraction as well. But the Mediterranean, the geography, how did you connect those differences to make this forum into one level, unite and equal? How difficult was that task and how you made it possible?
Yeah, I think the trick for it was basically by focusing on passion. We Mediterranean people are known for our passion. You know, we love life, we love food, we love the music, um, uh, and passion was actually the common denominator which we focused on, and that was the trick which brought together people from different cultures, despite coming from the same region, together because we started discovering each other and we were saying, look, we are different, yes, but we're very similar. We have the similar we have similar we all like music. We all like to go by the beach. We all like the sea. We all share the common love to the sea, for example. And it was a journey of rediscovering ourselves, Kieran. For a number of years, if you look at our history,
Yep.
you'll see that the Mediterranean was always a very important region in historical purposes. You know, it was the cradle of civilization. However, for the past 50 years, 60 years, we lost a bit that identity. We became Europeans, we became North Africans, we became Middle East. And what we're doing is now rekindling back, giving back birth to the Mediterranean identity.
Oh, that's amazing. So you were telling me something about how did you found this foundation? Please, can you explain a little bit?
As we started by looking at the opportunity of using tourism as the vehicle for peace and stability across the Mediterranean, the next step, we wanted to bring the best brains possible from across the Mediterranean to realize this dream. It's useless to dream and have a vision if you don't have the right people around you to make it happen. So we started reaching out to important personalities. I still recall the day when we approached Tijani Haddad. He's the president of FIJAT, as you well know, as you are also a member of FIJAT,
Yeah, yeah.
the International Federation for Journalists, who was one of the very first to help in establishing this foundation. And we started through him. We reached out to Taleb Rifai, who at the time was the Secretary General of the United Nations World Tourism Organization. And then eventually it spread like wildfire, and we built a team of top personalities, top brains, who through their help we started to give birth to the what's now called the Mediterranean Tourism Forum.
Yeah, of course, and likewise, not only that, you are the founder of Mediterranean Hotel and Restaurant Academy as well. What is this about, Andrew? Would you mind to describe a little bit?
Yeah, actually, I am the CEO of the Malta Hotels and Restaurants Association. The Malta Hotels and Restaurants Association is the lobby group. It's the voice of the hoteliers and restaurateurs in Malta. Of course, the tourism sector in Malta is a very important sector. It represents cumulatively 30% of the GDP. So our voice in the country is very important. but not only just at the national level, but also at the regional level. Because if there is anything for which Malta is renowned at an international level, it's for sure tourism. So we looked at from our neighbors as a case of best practice of how to do tourism. And me in the shoes of CEO of the Malta Hotels and Restaurants Association, we are there to support our members to continue to sustainably grow our tourism sector.
Yeah, and likewise, you have wonderful achievement, and you have contributing to national and international organizations like European Parliament or World Bank as well. You have been appointed as advisor for ministers for many years. Even you worked with the Prime Minister. So, working with those wonderful personality and magnificent organizations, how do you think that you contributed to the tourism?
My main contribution to tourism has been that the creative side, the innovative side. My message has always been that we need to be a step ahead. We need to think outside the box in order to make sure that the product not only remains fresh, but also competitive enough to have an edge on other competing destinations. Now, the competing destinations, we find them within the region themselves, but then we can also cooperate whilst competing with each other, cooperate to promote the region, which is very important, especially keeping in mind the way tourism is evolving at an international level, where we're seeing a major growth coming from the Asian part of the globe, where if I have to go to China and talk about Malta, probably very few people would have heard about Malta. Whereas if I talk about the Mediterranean, that would create the right perceptions and then eventually build up to promote our islands. So whilst competing between ourselves, and learning from, we can also learn from best practices from each other, because at the end of the day, the more we promote the Mediterranean region together, the more the region is a successful destination as an attraction to tourists at an international level, the better it is for all of us.
You work as a consultant with the Prime Minister office as well. So tell me something about your experience working with that, high level authority.
Yeah, I mean, I spent about 15 years working as an advisor within the office of the Prime Minister. I served under various prime ministers coming from different political parties. And I used to form part of the team in charge of the restructuring of the public sector and the public service. I was one of the first, or one of the I would say, lucky ones to have been in charge of the introduction of the internet, for example, at a national level. So I could see the country going into this new venture of digitalizing the nation, which led, of course, to major changes, not only in the way we do things, but also the way we live. I was involved in the restructuring programs of a number of entities, such as hospitals, such as the police force, such as the museums department, which that gave me a lot of insight of how a country is run. Because at the end of the day, it's not the size which matters in this case, but it's the policies, the processes are very common, irrespective of whether you are leading a small country or a big country. The processes and the policies at the end of the day are very similar.
Yes, and do you want to share something about your experience working with the World Bank? Because this is something like economic advisory board, but you contribute to the tourism through that organization. How was your days with the World Bank?
Basically, with the World Bank, I was an advisor. And the focus of my expertise with the World Bank was to share best practices. At the time, we used to refer to them as benchmarking. One of the fields where I worked in particular with the World Bank was related to the pharmaceutical industry, actually, Kiran, where we were looking at best practices across Europe, and see what lessons could be learned to bring them to Malta and create new possible industries, innovative industries related to the pharmaceutical industry. Same industries which we created I would say a decade ago, which are still in existence and contributing heavily to the economy, to the Maltese economy.
Yes, and also your experience with the European Parliament as well. Tell me something that did they help to contribute tourism or promote tourism in Malta? Was that helpful?
Yes, I mean that is also was a very interesting experience with the European Parliament. I was doing your job, it's very 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 similar to what you're doing today. I was
Yes.
trying to bring closer to the people the operations of the European institutions by translating the complexities, but into something which can be easily understood by the general public by conducting the right interviews, by reaching out to the key decision makers and help them express in a way which the general public understands. And that was, I think, a very important experience in my career because, yes, it's true, I contributed a lot in promoting the functions of the European Union to the general public, but equally important, I also learned a lot from the way the institutions work.
Yeah, of course, and it's a great pleasure to know that you are also the chairman at the Public Broadcasting Service, and you have been producing a series as well in the United States for the United States. Tell me something that how media industry is going on there.
I mean, media today rules the world, Kieran. I mean, who writes the story rules the world. We were taught at school, and it's true. And today, I would say more than ever before. So the media, social media, are very important means for communication. And if you're not present there, of course, you're losing big time because your message risks
Of course,
risks to be lost
yeah,
in the noise.
yeah.
So you need to be strategic and have people like yourself who are professional enough to help you reach out to the right audience.
Better way, yeah, of course. So, what are the things you have been doing through this media companies?
It's not my media company. It was the National Public Broadcasting Services.
Yeah,
I was the chairman for it.
yeah,
So during my term, we were restructuring the public broadcasting services, both the national television station and the national radio stations at the time, and we were preparing them for the new challenges which the European Union were, of course, bringing towards the country because Malta had just joined the European Union and there was a restructuring program which we had to spearhead in order to make it in line with the policies, communication policies, media policies spearheaded by the European Union.
So, Andrew, this is so wonderful that we talk about your achievements, about your professional career a little bit. It's not a lot because if we talk about yourself, it might be go hours and hours because you have a lot of achievements and you have numbers of honor and award as well. I would like to congratulate you for that, which you deserve, firmly deserve. Let
Thank you.
let me know something, and for my audience also, this might be very interesting. How you became tourism entrepreneur? What was the entry point? Would you mind to recall that past?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, my career, as you rightly mentioned, is a spectrum of different industries. I've worked in the construction industry, I've worked in the food manufacturing industry, I've worked in the advisory sectors. And what probably was missing um, uh, in this career was tourism. So 10 years ago, some 15 years ago, the opportunity came to uh, apply for the position of CEO at the Malta Hotels and Restaurants Association, and the rest is history. I started from this very same room where we're doing the interview today,
Yeah,
and I mean, I started with a vision which probably was a bit different to the way things were being done at the time. I was lucky enough to be supported by the council members of the association throughout the past years, and I
right.
think we have managed to do a number of very important achievements.
So, can you tell me something that what are the businesses you have been running now?
As a professional, I've been managing the Malta Hotels and Restaurants Association and the Mediterranean Tourism Foundation. These have been the two main operations that have, I would say, taken up much of my career time over the past 15 years. And I'm so happy. I mean, I usually say that I'm quite a boring person. I don't have much hobbies, but my work is my hobby. I love it. Every time that I wake up in the morning, I'm one of those guys who happily goes to the office because I know that my work gives me the opportunity to express my creativity, to express my vision of how we can make this world a better place.
So, as a Malta Hotel and Restaurant Association CEO and General Secretary, how do you think this association is helping tourism there, especially someone who wants to start kick off in the tourism industry, who is very new, who wants to come this industry? How do you guys help them?
Yes, first of all, at a political level, we work very closely with the authorities in order to represent the voice, the concerns, and but even the ideas that our members have in terms of how we can improve, how we can further grow in a sustainable way the tourism sector. And there are a number of challenges. We have lately launched a study, a carrying capacity exercise, which highlights the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats related to the way the industry is growing so fast. Because, like anything else, there are advantages and disadvantages. And as a strategic leader, one needs to understand both so that one can take the right decisions for the future. Um, uh, we have also contributed heavily when it comes to the upskilling of our staff. As I'm sure you are aware, one of the biggest challenges in the tourism sector across the world, not just in Malta, are the resources, are finding people to be employed to work to operate the hospitality sector in Malta. So we have engaged on a number of initiatives which encourage, bring together employers and potential employees, and we're seeing to do more on this line because at the end, this is very important. The hospitality sector is all about people, Kieran. It's not just about a question of machinery or infrastructures. People are very important, and we as association we work and lobby very much strongly government to make sure that there is a continuous investment that the skills of our people are continuously improved in order to ensure a top-notch service.
What is the speciality of Mediterranean tourism? What are the things that you would like to highlight?
I would summarize it in one word: life. If I had to choose two words, Mediterranean life, which is a special way of living. It's a special way of enjoying being out, enjoying the sea, enjoying the mountains, enjoying the desert, enjoying the forests, enjoying our food, enjoying our music. It's a special way of life. And this is probably what attracts all those millions who come across the world to come and spend their limited time as vacation with us.
Mhm. Yeah, of course. Andrew, you work a lot. You work very hard since your career started, and you had wonderful achievements in education sector as well. You have very good qualification, MBA, this and that. What is life in your opinion?
I see it, part of. You cannot distinguish. I would say what I've done when I was at a younger. I was younger, when I was studying. I mean, my studies revolve around business and politics. I was always the type of person who doesn't really concentrate on one topic, but I try to spread. And that's how it started. The foundation started with a strong academic preparation, focused on business, and then I further ventured into studying politics. And then what I studied, I used it as inspiration to realize and leave my little mark through my career in order to be the change that we want to see here. And I mean, this is what probably was one of the first things which I learned at university, to be
Yeah,
the change that you want to see. And I'm trying to realize through my life,
yeah.
to influence positively the life of other people.
What did you do when you had been into the hard time?
um, every one of us, one day or another, will have to go through a tough time.
Yeah,
The most important thing is that when you are down on your knees, you're strong enough to stand up back and be prepared for the next punch to come someday or
that's the
another.
best thing, of course.
So,
Stand on your knees and move
yeah,
on
the
through.
important thing is never to fall backwards, but to fall forward.
Have you
Because when
cried
you fall
sometime
forward,
in your life?
I'm a very emotional person. I'm very passionate. So yes, I mean, I'm not embarrassed to say. I mean, yes, I laugh. I like to laugh. I like to. Um, I can get happy very easily, but of course, I can also get emotional very easily. But as I said, I mean, deep down, then you need to bring out your strength and stick to what you believe. And if you have to fall forward, because at least if you fall forward, you know that where you're going to hit, and that helps you to stand up back again.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And what is the secret of your success?
The secret of my success, I would immediately say, being surrounded by people who are much better than I am. Sometimes we tend to see people who are better than us as a threat. I see it as an opportunity.
Of
I
course.
just enjoy to be next to the people who have amazing brains, who are energetic, who are wise, because when you are surrounded by these people, of course, you stand nothing but benefit out of it and grow faster.
Grow faster. And eventually, we are about to end the show. So tell me something about MTF Malta Tourism Forum that you guys are going to organize probably in November, right?
Absolutely. It's going to be the
Yeah.
21st, 22nd, 23rd. The theme will be, guess what? Mediterranean life. Why life? Because top on the international agenda is the green agenda, the green movement. A lot of things have been said and done about green, about ESGs, a number of buzzwords. But when you squeeze the subject, we're talking about life. It's important that we keep the discussion at a simple level because if we tend to complicate things, we tend to miss the wood for the trees. Keep in mind that if we lose the environment around us, we are risking to lose our life because our life is dependent on the environment. Another perspective to the discussion, Mediterranean Life, Mediterranean Tourism Forum 2023, will also be about the reason why tourists travel. Tourists come to the Mediterranean because they want to experience our life. So that again emphasizes the importance of sustainable tourism. And there's a third perspective to this. Tourism generates the livelihood of the majority of the people across the Mediterranean. So the link between tourism, livelihood, and life.
That's amazing. And would you mind to say something about how anybody can participate there, the procedure and something like that, entry, or what is that?
Yeah, I mean, we're currently preparing the program, and I can assure it's going to be a very interesting program with people coming from all over the world. We're expecting people coming from 30 different countries. It will be a show, a show of events, a show of conferences, different conferences going in parallel, but then everybody meeting at the plenary on the 23rd. The way of participating to it will be to access our official website, medtourismforum.com, and one will find the necessary information of how to go about it.
Yes, thank you very much for this everything because of your opinion and your presence. Maybe most people who watch us they will be benefited about the MTF and Malta Tourism Foundation and the tourism in that region. And your time and opinion is very valuable, Andrew. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much
Yeah.
TV
for the opportunity.
Sunday, the power of truth.